same spot, but it's still getting there and doing the thing. I love rounder shaping balls. So I say that on YouTube. Ooh. All right, so that was disgusting.
Brunswick's Danger Zone Purple Ice is releasing on December 11th to accompany the Danger Zone, and while the DZ is the big flagship one that everyone's excited about, this one isn't just a Sidekick, but you'll figure that out as we get through it here. Test pattern is Kegel Chromium at Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas. Many thanks to Jessy, Larry, Rocky, and company for always taking care of us. I made a small tweak to my layout. I nudged the pin a tad stronger to make it a bit more continuous, and the drill angle / PSA to PAP number doesn't matter on a symmetric ball, so I moved it for a really abstract but kind of funny reason. I tuck my pinky, and for whatever reason, the majority of the time the CG ends up right where my knuckle rests on the ball, and it drives me nuts, so I moved it. You know, incredibly scientific stuff here. For the details, same story as the DZ, original Danger Zone core, 250 RG, 048 differential and 15 pounds, not an ultra strong symmetric core, but plenty strong enough. The numbers are also pretty consistent, 14 through 16, so those who don't throw 15 will at least have representative ball reaction to see. The cover is standard / original HK22 Pearl with Power Coil 26 added. Again, if it's a zone, Power Coil has to be involved. The surface on this one is different than the DZ2. This one is 500 compound polish, so while most shiny releases are finished with compound to get a kind of shiny but not quite glossy finish, this one is glossed up. Very shiny, and I was worried about it for a shot or two, and I thought I might have to crack it, but it ended up working out just fine. I've always been a fan of factory polish, so your results may vary, but while it was definitely clean and responsive, I found it to be consistent enough for what I wanted it to be. Whenever you have a shiny ball, it's going to skid more on the oil and be more responsive on the dry, so it's naturally not going to be as controllable as something sanded and smoother, but you don't really want it to be. You want it to get down the lane and then move on the back end, and that's what this one does. It was still consistent and predictable, and actually impressively so for how shiny it is. I have more limited memory of the Danger Zone Black Ice, but I do remember it being this rounder shape. While technically the DZ and this one are solid pearl versions of each other, the shapes are quite a bit different. This one is a lot rounder and more continuous, while the DZ is more of an arcy hockey stick move that's on the continuous side of directional. While I had to make sure to keep my speed up and give the DZ room, this one I was able to relax a little bit with. Now it obviously still got after it. The straighter two zones, I was in a similar situation with both balls, but as I moved deeper, I got to slow down and soften up a little bit more with this one. This is definitely more of a moderate to heavy transition ball, even though it's handling the mostly fresh here just fine. I filmed for the DZ before this, and I bowled about 4 games, but I was moving all over the place, and I don't feel like I created any real or substantial transition, but on a few of these shots that I got going a little too far right, you can see it being late and flat. That just says I need more friction on the lane, or I mean if it was a house shot it would be screaming back, but it'd be much more controllable with some solid friction to work with, and I think it would be a great combo with the other one to just destroy typical house shots. Start with a DZ, move into this one, all you need. This one I think needs a little more time to pick up, and it was a little more sensitive from straighter. It did get deep really well though. I feel like it's a 3-in-1 right of the DZ, or left if you're on the other side. This is a camp out at third arrow and wreck things kind of ball. Even if you're a straighter bowler, I think you'll still need to belly it a little because it's going to pick up pretty hard on the friction on the outside of regular house shots. It's definitely going to be clean and slow for higher speeds if you're rev deficient as well, or you're going to need a pile of friction. I think this fits for everyone else though. It's clean enough for slower speeds, and while it does move down lane, the rounder shape I think will help keep it on line a little better for higher rev rates. I think this one is actually a little smoother than the black one, so while it's still stronger than you might think, I think that kind of oddly makes it a little more controllable for the lower speed, higher rev crowd. You're used to everything hooking and booming and having to play fourth arrow anyway, so I think this one is manageable at least. It's not going to change your world and move you back to the right, I just think it's one that you can work with. Here's the major deal. It's $120. This was a complete surprise. When I first saw the information, I figured we'd be in the $150 to $160 range with other comparable balls, not down in vibe territory. This one is a little closer to something like the Ocean and the Bubblegum Vibes, but it's still a good half step up. And while it's not quite the extreme bang for your buck value the black one is, it's still the best one for this kind of ball on the market. You've heard the spiel enough. Search Positive Tales for the Rescue collection on CoolWick. I also have a few signature items on there that I haven't mentioned in a while, so search my name to see all of that if you're interested. And of course, code ROSEDAL10 at checkout gets you 10% off non-fundraising and non-discounted items. Bowler's Mart link is in the description for all your bowling needs, including the new Epic Evo 2D dual dial high performance shoes. They're my daily drivers now, and I've used them in all my videos since I got them, including this one. Plus the review, I promise, is actually the next thing at the top of the list. I'll echo most of the things I said about the other one in that review. This is a crazy price point for a ball like this, and I think if you reset the surface and just did the compound, you're close to something like a GB5 Pearl, Rockstar Amped, Phase 2 Pearl territory. Not quite that strong, but not nearly as far off as you might think or assume. I'd actually like to see those comparisons. Hutch, if you're watching, that's all you, buddy. While I don't think that anybody is quite as jazzed up about this one as the black one, it's a very sexy looking ball, and I love these rounder shaping, more continuous reactions. I'm very happy to have different shapes out of the two balls and a little strength offset. They're close enough on strength that there's some definite overlap there, but the shape difference pushes them into a better complement space. You may also not have been an original DZ fan. Your ball might have been the Black Ice, and if that's the case, here you go. Again, it's not a must-have, absolutely have to go out and buy a ball. I won't ever say that about anything, but if and when you're in the market for something like this, I don't see how this isn't the choice. Once again, December 11th is the release date. I've got reviews up for the DZ and the very interesting Crown 78U also. Livecom is up next. This one was pretty simple, but I do have a lot of in-the-moment context and comments that are unique to the Livecom, and members, of course, will get the full 25-minute version. Bowler's Mart link in the description to get one of these pre-ordered, and as always, if you have any comments or questions, please leave those down below.
All right, and we'll see. Fresh thumb holes are always grabby, so see what happens. Again, staying on 21, 14 to 6. Yeah, this feels like this is gonna stick. And it did. This one is extra uber glossy. So this I think is gonna take, it's probably best to hit this with a pad or something, or, you know, I kind of killed it because it didn't get off my hand that great. Or I think 2 or 3 games would probably get this to pick up a little bit harder, just a little bit more friction, something like that. But this one is uber extra glossy. I think this is, even if you use this under our conditions, I think that this is still something that people are going to want to take the shine off here. Or not. Maybe that was just the kind of catching on the first shot. And again, I preach this all the time. It takes balls a couple games to really warm up and do what they're going to do. But I think that they kind of did that. This one's 500 compound polish, where the solid is 500, 1000, 2000 compound. So this one ultimately gets to a higher, much shinier finish than the original, or I guess the solid does. I love the shape of this one already. This is a much rounder shape. I think it's even a little bit smoother than the solid is. That might just be having to get a couple games on it to kind of knock the polish down. But I love stuff that shapes like this. So this is gonna make me very happy. And that was terrible. Might get there. No. Yeah. Arm got away from me a little bit on that one. But I really like the way that this rolls already. It kind of reminds me of the new Zone Classic, but I think those of you who remember the Danger Zone black ice, this is kind of this like a purple version of that almost. So even though it's purple, again, they call it purple ice, black ice. This might be, okay, so see, just in the few shots that I've thrown, that one I'm still rolling it, but it's picked up harder every single shot. And again, I put a few games on, but I was moving all over the place, and it's just not. This lane's not close to transition yet, so. That's pretty good. It's still, when people say wiggle, that's what wiggle looks like. Even though it still picked up and drove and finished, the shot before it like really picked up and went, and that one looked like it was starting to pick up and go, and then it kind of hesitated. So just instead of hesitating, we call that wiggling, where it looks like it's gonna go and then it just kind of hangs out there and does that little fishtail thing. So I probably got just a little bit of carry down out there right in the middle of the back end. Same spot, but it's still getting there and doing the thing. I love rounder shaping balls. I say that on YouTube. But I love the kind of rounder, more continuous, just GB5 stealth mode kind of shapes. But obviously this is just cleaner and in pearl form. But I mean, this is just something that okay, I kind of spun that one just a little bit, but I'm not mad at a wrap 10, especially on that kind of a shot. But this one's still, like I was talking about with the solid. Has somebody plop something on the table. Godzilla. But anyway, this one's still kind of a little sneaky strong. Oh boy, that's okay. That's fair enough. That's kind of unintentionally tested that out. So yes, where the solid was kind of picking up, this one is clean enough to where, again, it's not a house shot. So if I get it out there, it's gonna stay out there. So. That's really good. Okay, close enough. Close enough. That was a really good shot. I just snuck up a little bit. We can adjust to that. We can throw decent shots again. I am feeling just a smidge of transition in the track. I think that I saw it kind of right there on that one. It kind of picked up just a little bit earlier than I thought it was going to pick up. That's better. Okay, just a little softer on the release. Little spin, little kind of up the back of it. I'm not like kind of getting all the way around it. One more decent one from here and then we'll straighten out.
This video was brought to you by Panda Bear Productions. We put the in bowling.